This goes back a long way, as far back as the Obama administration coming in and putting copyright on the White House agenda, at around the same time that his Hong Kong-based company Mega Upload was setting off alarm bells across Hollywood. So Mega Upload was a file hosting website which ostensibly was there for people to store music, movies, computer programs, whatever you might like on it. It turned out, as the FBI would have it, to be a haven for pirated material. And that made Kim.com and Mega Upload very much of interest to the FBI. That culminated in a January 2012 worldwide raid. There are about half a dozen countries where the FBI, with the help of local police, arrested people that were connected to the Mega Upload business or seized goods that and cash that could be traced to Mega Upload. And that was, for New Zealand, from January 2012, the start of what has been an incredibly long and drawn-out saga.
Well, like you say, the battle to get him extradited has been going on for years. Why has it been so difficult and taken so long to get Kim.com to face court in the US?
So this has been extraordinary because it is 12 years. The extradition warrant signed last week was signed by Justice Minister Paul Goldsmith. He's the ninth person to have that portfolio since .com was arrested. This is what happens when you get somebody that's got a ferociously large bank balance and you put them into the legal system. It has been an extraordinary stress test on the system, not helped by some of the government's antics. There was the raid in 2012 was a completely over-the-top affair with our specialist counter-terrorist SWAT team going in on helicopters at dawn with the illegal support of our electronic spying agency. And so the way that New Zealand cooperated with the US was just a bit over-eager, really. And in that over-eagerness created lots of gaps that very clever lawyers have been able to drive wedges into. Ultimately, though, it came back to arguing as to whether or not .com was eligible for extradition according to the treaty between New Zealand and the United States. The defendants, there were four of them arrested in January 2012. They spent a long time arguing that there was no case to answer and that decision should be made in New Zealand. The way that it shook down in the end was that all of our courts, all the way up to the Supreme Court, said that that was for the US to decide whether it should go ahead to trial, but the evidence that had been presented so far showed that that extradition bar had been well and truly crossed.
So he's been through several appeals, but do you think this might be the end of it? He can't appeal this latest extradition order, can he?
It'll be quite some time, I think, before he leaves New Zealand. I'd say certainly another 2 or 3 years, possibly as long as 5 to 7. The appeal wherever you can tactic is highly likely to be repeated. The signing of the extradition warrant by the Justice Minister can be judicially reviewed by the High Court. Once it gets back into the court's territory, then there's a lot of room to move for .com, who still has very deep pockets and has a remarkable knack for making money. I tallied up probably about 4 or 5 years ago how much money had been spent on lawyers by either side, and it came to about $30 million at that point. It'd certainly be a fair measure more than that now, and I would expect quite a bit more to be spent on lawyers before we get to the end of the road.
And why New Zealand? Why has .com settled there, and why does he like it so much?
Well, he came here in 2010 and became a resident here of a government scheme that allowed people that invested $10 million to be given a residency. And I has spoken to him a number of times about why he wanted to live in New Zealand, and he saw it as a bolt hole from the end of the world. He was sure that at some stage in the near future, calamity would strike, war would break out, and that New Zealand was the safest place to be.
Fair enough. Well, do you think if he is extradited at the end of the day, what could he possibly be facing in the US?
On the charges that have been levelled against him at the moment, it's decades and decades in prison, and he's got quite a hurdle to get over there if he wants to dodge that, because of the original 7 people worldwide that were charged, including .com, one of them's dead. 3 of them are testifying against him in plea deals, and he's really running out of runway. He's going to face a tough time in the US courts, and I can't imagine that he will enjoy the liberty that he has here in New Zealand. The time that he's been spending on bail here in New Zealand, he's been out of the community on bail in some of the most beautiful, most expensive properties that we have.
Well, David Fisher, good to get your views on this story. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.